You're listening to the Business of Pharmacy podcast with me, your host, Mike Kelzer. Blair, for those who haven't come across you online, introduce yourself and tell our listeners what we're talking about today.
So my name is Blair Thielemier, and I built the pharmacy's first online course, business course for entrepreneurial pharmacists called the Pharmapreneur Academy.
You and I talked about a year and a half ago and got into the details of why you did this and so on. Is there still room left for a pharmacist that says, I'm so sick and tired of the damn PBMs, I just want to throw the whole thing out the window, probably go to a new career choice? Is that wrong? Is there still room left in pharmacy?
So let me tell you about one of my clients recently who left her job. She went and created a non-dispensing pharmacy that focuses on mobile point of care testing, working with collaborative providers, and also offering remote opportunities to log in and get to talk to a pharmacist, do a comprehensive medication review or an annual wellness visit type of service. And she was actually recently able to leave her position as a hospital pharmacist, and she's already hired her first consultant pharmacist to work under her to help her deliver some of these services. So yes, there is hope in the pharmacy world.
As much as the PBMs are a pain in the ass, sometimes I want to say the same thing about employees. We almost gave someone listening a little bit of a carrot, and now you threw in the employee part. I'm joking somewhat, but most of the people that come your way, I don't mean this to sound bad, but are people coming to you more than creating a new job? And I think in the business world, you always hear like, if you don't have an employee, you're just creating a new job for yourself. Is that the case, or do you think that people come with the goal of not only building their own thing, but also building a business? And you can define business in that case of having employees, let's say.
So I would say it's about 50-50. Most people will start with the idea of, I just want to replace my income. And then eventually, if they have that entrepreneurial spirit, they will start thinking, okay, now I want to have a bigger impact. I want to leave a legacy. I want to create a firm, not just me, so that I can scale it. That's really where people will end up naturally going as they kind of progress through business.
It's kind of like Maslow. Depends how bad your job sucks you're trying to get away from. I mean, I can see a lot of, let's say, you might have a real estate agent or something who's already quite autonomous. I'm sure they have their headaches too, but it seems like maybe they're not running from something as quickly or as harshly as a pharmacist might, who's in a terrible situation. So sometimes you take a pharmacist who's in a bad situation, they might go to like somewhere that gives them like 50% of their income and working twice as hard as long as they can get away from that pressure.
Yeah, and I hate to see that. I mean, I understand it. I've been there. When I lost my job, I thought, do I need to go get an MBA? What else can I do with my skills? Like I'm great at going to college. Maybe I just need to go back to college, right? And when we start, getting into that scarcity mindset, it blocks the creative, innovative ideas for what we can do, still using our pharmacy knowledge.
Last week I was online and I think it was a TED Talk. I think the guy he called himself a human walker. And I think his joke was, I just caught some of it. He said, no, I don't put a leash on the people, but I think he was a human walker. And I might have made some of this up. I didn't watch the whole thing, but basically the gist of it for me was there is unlimited advice out there. But like in this guy's case, we all know we should exercise. We all know we should eat well and that kind of stuff. There's unlimited advice, but that connection, and I think there's a ton of businesses there, whether it's an app or actually a human being, of saying, you know, Sally, I'm knocking on your door. It's 6:45 in the morning. Come on, we have to go for a 3-mile walk. I'm going to walk you this morning. The information doesn't matter. It's getting from the head to the feet, or the head to the communication with families. I think there's a lot of room there. There's a ton of information. There's a lot of room there to make something happen.
That's what I'm trying to bring to the business coaching world, is this whole other side of me that embraces meditation and energy and dealing with emotional trauma and generational trauma, and really taking a hard look at why we do the things that we do, and how are we keeping ourselves small? How are we not sharing our purpose that we were put here on earth to share? In this retreat that we just did, it was fantastic because we did things like sound healing, we did meditations, we did breath work, we did a lot of exercises that help to break down those barriers and create vulnerability so that we could really get to the underlying issues of why we're building our business, what are the things that's holding us back. Maybe it's, on social media. When I first started my business and I launched the Pharmapreneur Academy, I wanted to be anonymous. And it took me a while to figure out like why I was trying to dim my light, why I wasn't comfortable with using my voice. And a lot of it was societal expectations and pressures that I would be seen as unprofessional, or that it wasn't in line with what people thought a pharmacist should be. And so I really held myself back there at the beginning. And I think there's also this fear of success, or success sabotaging, that happens when we aren't connected with that, or aligned with that inner purpose of that goal that we want to get to.
Blair, would you say that all of your clients that you coach, their businesses that they're starting, arguably are all of those meant to meet needs that the larger commercial market is not hitting? Because you're not taking somebody and saying, hey, Susie, I'm going to teach you how to buy this stuff so you can do something twice as cheap. Hey, Bill, I'm going to show you how to market to someone who hasn't been marketed to yet, and so on. We're going to do this faster. It's probably none of that. I imagine that all the businesses that you're helping people in is like touchy-feely. I don't mean that it's void of product and void of solution, but I imagine that it's all, let's get to that inner part of you kind of thing.
That's a great observation on your part, because it is at the core what we believe in at the Pharmapreneur Academy. It's leveraging our knowledge of herbs and biochemistry and medications and lifestyle modification into something completely new. So yes, you can use your business platform to sell a product, but it also needs to be aligned with the service that you sell.
I know all the people that come to you are perfect and you're perfect and it always works out. But if you could imagine someone that you said, that guy's a pain in the ass and I don't want to work with him anymore, what kind of a person would that be?
So I think early when I started the Pharmapreneur Academy, I listened to the needs of my clients, and basically they were saying, I need to know the CPT codes. I just need to know how pharmacists can bill for these clinical services. That's all I need.
Hmm.
Those are the people that's hardest to work with, is like, no, I just need the information and then I can go do it on my own. When you don't have any business training, you have no idea what has worked in the past. You can spend a lot of time trying to get traction in business. And both you and I know it takes a long time to build a business. I mean, it's not something you can do overnight. And I never want to give people the impression that this can just lead to overnight success, because what we teach is really the lifelong skills that entrepreneurs need to continuously evolve their services so that they're making sure that they're providing solutions for their ideal clients that they want to work with. So I guess in short, that's the hardest type to work with, is the people that say, all I need is just this piece of information and then I got it, on my own.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. If I'm in the pharmacy and somebody comes in and let's say I'm selling them I don't know, a commode or something like that. And let's say 9 out of the 10 that come in, my team has to explain to them how this sits over the stool and this bucket has a chute, but you'd want to replace it with a real bucket that also comes with it if you're going to have it over your carpeting and that kind of stuff. The 10th person that comes in and just says, give me a commode, how much, I'll take it, goodbye. Perfect. My team doesn't have to have that 10-minute commode conversation with them. Now, I think I know what the answer is, but the person that comes in and says, Blair, just give me this, and then goes, and you got your money and they got what they wanted, why don't you like that? Devil's advocate, you'd say, that's the kind of customer that you want.
No, that's not the kind of client that I want.
Why not? You got their money, you gave them the information, you're never going to see them again. Goodbye.
That's not in line with my integrity. So if I was going to sell you a commode, I would want to make sure that it is the best commode for you and is going to add the most value to your life. So I talk about this kind of just in a fun way of showing how I would recommend selling this commode or training your staff to sell this commode.
Here's what I'm getting at, though. Why do you care? You got their money. I mean, if someone says in that analogy, and this is going back to your client who says, Blair, just give me the CPT codes. But let's say you get their money and they're gone. Why does that bother you?
I don't know. It shouldn't, should it? But it does.
Maybe it should.
I just know that they're not going to get the best result.
And so what, though? Why does that bother you?
It's just in order...
Devil's advocate here, I'm talking, right?
Yeah, in order to make the kind of impact, in order to change the perception of who pharmacists are, I think we need to be more unified in our message.
Mm.
And so that message doesn't need to come across as, here's a CPT code that pharmacists can use to bill and get reimbursed for $120. The message that I think pharmacy needs is, here's the outcome of working with me. Here's the interventions that I'm going to make. And it comes from quality measures. So CMS created the macro legislation back in 2013, maybe. And basically that shifted the pay for performance model to what we have now, which is physicians' offices, health systems, even pharmacies are being looked at for their patient outcomes. So how do you have an impact on patient outcomes if you're just selling them a commode and not selling them the best commode for them? That it may still not be meeting their needs because they don't even know what their needs are. So as an expert, it's our job to make sure that people are armed with not only the product or the information that they need, but are trained how to use it effectively so that they can go out and say, I can use these CPT codes to reimburse for my time, but I'm not an hourly employee. I am a quality manager. I'm an asset that builds on the quality benchmarks that you've set forth and improves patient outcomes. And as a result, that is going to bring you more revenue and more profitability.
It can kind of hurt almost like your brand or your mission. Somebody taking something like that, you're almost adding to the slide back down into the product category and not
Yes, not the value.
not the value. You might get the quick buck, but it's hurting your mission.
I think it's a short-sighted business model
Yeah.
to sell a one-off product. Everything that we try to create is something that can be replicated, create recurring revenue, whether it's a membership site or a subscription for your patients to be able to, to come together in community or to continuously learn from you so that they can know how to, use whatever products you sell them to their full advantage and get the full value. So like even using the commode as an example, the way that I would recommend training a team to sell that is we call it like basically the Mercedes, the Cadillac, and then the budget friendly options. So when you're talking to someone about, the commodes that you have available, say, this one is our top of the line. It comes with, it's stainless steel, it's sturdy. There's, I don't know, some kind of special bidet, it's auto flushing, it's like all these cool things. But most people like our Cadillac option. They like the value option. And so this is the one I would recommend for, 80% of people. This is the one most people buy. Here's how it improves, like the squatty potty. Oh my gosh, Shark Tank like took that to the next level not because it was just like this cool addition you could put in your bathroom, but because of the health benefits. So if you're selling a commode and you're talking about the health benefits along with it, that's going to get, that's the benefit. That's the result of why people need to use this one versus someone who's just going to come in, buy it off the shelf, and use it for a short time and be like, nah, I don't really like it, whatever, and just throw it away the next day.
There's too much effort that goes into a one-time sale in any profession that depends on a one-time sale. It's tough. If you do things right, there's a lot of different ways to define that. Pharmacies, you can define it as you might not turn a commode into more than a one-time sale, but that person becomes a multiple sale in their life as they age or whatever. One-time sales are really tricky.
Yeah, they are. And even looking at high quality probiotics and vitamin supplements, making sure that if you're dispensing, something at the counseling window, that your team, even if it's not the pharmacist who's talking to them, it can just be the register clerk, that they know that every time they dispense a birth control or an antidepressant or a statin, that they better be asking that customer, hey, are you taking this with CoQ10? Are you, making sure you're taking your prenatals? Are you making sure that you're taking a high quality B complex? Every single time at the checkout is going to help increase the sales of your supplement products, but it's also going to help increase the outcomes of that patient if you're connecting it with something that they truly need, which is, something that's a micronutrient that their body needs to function properly. So it's coming from a place of this medicine can work better if you do XYZ to help it work better. It's basically helping your body function better and tapping into that self-healing, self-cleaning that is an instinct that's built into our DNA.
Blair, do you really like coaches? I know you kind of promote coaching, and I can see your coaching because it's like there's something to actually be learned and you've got some neat information and so on. But devil's advocate here, I'm saying you only say that you like coaches because you're a coach. And if people see that Blair uses coaches, then they'll use Blair as a coach. What do you use coaches for?
Oh, that's a great question. I have used coaches since starting my business in 2015. And I think when you first get started, just a general business coach is helpful. I mean, I didn't even know, I had no idea how to start a website or gather emails or post on social media. I had no idea that there was an actual strategy that goes along with building a business. And so having a coach to kind of walk me through that strategy was really helpful in the beginning. And you think, okay, I've been in business for 6 years now. I don't need coaching anymore. That is not the case at all. I think I have worked with 9 different coaches this year.
9 coaches?
Yes,
Huh?
9
9
coaches.
coaches.
So the further you get in business, the more specific your coaches need to be.
Give me some examples.
Okay. So I redid my keynote for the upcoming Elevate Summit. And so I worked with my speaking coach to put that keynote together in a way that flows and told my story and aligns with the flow of the rest of the event. So it kind of sets the stage and it flows right in with the whole rest of the conference.
The terms have gone back and forth, and some will call that a coach. I'm going to call that more a consultant.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm going to say they're helping you because I think of a coach as like someone firing you up and saying, Blair, you can do this. You can do a better keynote thing. I'm going to call that more of a consultant. True?
That is true. That is true.
Almost an employee of yours. You're telling them to do it for you.
Well, we actually do it together.
All right, fair enough.
We're walking through the keynote, for example, and she's saying, "Oh, you need an audience engagement part right here."
And I can see where that's coaching you then. So you're better then for this one, but also, again, for the next time, right?
Yes.
Coach. All right, I'll give it to you.
Yeah. So I work with Carol as my speaking coach. I work with our retreat coaches. So we just offered the Salt Lake City retreat, and there's a specific way that I wanted that weekend to go to first kind of put everyone in this relaxed state that they could kind of get out of their heads and all the, I call it the mean girl thoughts that we have about why we can't do the things that we really want to do. And so there were some specific exercises that those retreat coaches or consultants helped me to put into the retreat agenda in order to facilitate the feeling and the state of being that I wanted the participants to be in at every single part of the retreat. So that whole weekend just flowed together nicely and ended up with a desired result because I was so intentional beforehand about what I wanted to create. So I think to me, that's where coaches come in, is they just want to help you create that intention for what you're hoping to achieve.
Is that a coach just for retreats? Like her business is helping other businesses putting retreats?
It's a husband and wife, actually. They live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been to a couple of their events that they facilitated. And after meeting them and hearing them speak and actually being a participant in attending some of their retreats, they do like glass walks and like Tony Robbins type stuff.
Their whole business isn't just teaching other people how to do retreats, but you hired them to say, I like your retreats so much.
Yes.
Kind of, how can I adapt this to mine?
Yes. Yeah. And I didn't make anyone walk on glass or fire or anything, but I did push them.
Tony got sued for that a couple years ago.
Did
I
he?
forget the parts of it, but
Well, it's helpful because I've never facilitated a retreat like that before. So, yes, I 100% believe in going to someone who's already done it and have that. I don't like to just wing it if I can at all help it. I'm all about let's spend a little money to save me a lot of time in the back end and get a result that gets people coming home fired up about the program, about our brand, and really I think that's the best marketing that we could possibly ask for, is when those retreat participants go back home and have that transformation, and their colleagues and their families take notice and they said, what did Blair do to you? you know, to be able to go back and like, yes, that was absolutely money well spent to create the type of transformation in those attendees that I intended to create. And I might have been able to do that on my own, but having having someone that gave me the structure and had been there and done that and had known how to facilitate a retreat like that, it gave me so much more confidence in sticking to what my vision for the retreat would be.
I imagine the answer to this would sort of be like hiring a plumber to diagnose a problem instead of you reading all about plumbing, or a heart surgeon instead of you becoming a heart surgeon yourself. I imagine that talking to somebody like that is better than you just reading about how to put a retreat on, because they can maybe pinpoint some problems. They can take all this information and just like right there, you need to improve this part of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing as, okay, well, if you can't afford to hire a plumber to come in and you have to do it on your own, go to YouTube and find some free resources that may or may not help you. You still may not have the skills to do it, but at least you can make an informed decision about, do I want to invest in an expert, or do I want to maybe potentially burst a water
Yeah,
line, a
right,
sewage line in my house?
right.
It gives you information in which you can make a decision to move forward.
Next coach.
The next coach. Okay. So I have a chief technical officer that isn't necessarily my coach. She's more like a consultant, but we do have strategy meetings put on the calendar, quarterly strategy meetings where we go in and we figure out together what can be automated, what are the processes, how are we looking at our funnels, for example. So in business, we have to have a way to bring in new clients as we're serving our current clients. So what she would do is basically take a look at our new customer acquisition funnel, and then she would look at the user experience and the onboarding process of how those people are being served. So I have the technical coach or technical strategist consultant. I've got social media coaches that they help me to stick to the brand that I want to convey. So I've been doing a lot more recently on Instagram, and that's no accident because one of my dear friends is an Instagram coach. Uh, Her name is the Dietitian Boss, and she does similarly to what I do for pharmacists. She works with dietitians to help them grow their brands online. So I believe in hiring people, whether they're coaches or consultants. I kind of use coaches just as a
Sure.
catch-all, but essentially adding people to our team as we grow so that we can stay in our area of genius, because I don't want to be trying to figure out how to launch a retreat or how to host a live event or fiddling with my keynote or whatever, because that's going to take me away from the things that I am best at. So it's like, let other people do what they're best at and just hire them to help you.
Is it known that they have a coaching business?
Yeah.
So they have these other businesses along with saying that they're a coach too.
Yes. Most of the people I work with have their own business. So I work with a lot of independent subcontractors
Yeah.
and consider them my team members. I think if you consider independent subcontractors as team members, they're definitely a line item on our budget. I think we're up to maybe a dozen contractors right now that we're working with, and that's consultant pharmacists, that's um, tech people, that's coaches and consultants.
These are part of your 9 coaches you talked about.
Yes, and some of those people are just more one-off. I wouldn't need a speaking coach to help me with my keynote once a month. So that would just be more like a one-off thing. The retreat people that I'm working with, it's a 4-month program. The sales coaches I'm working with is a year-long program. So there's different kind of durations that I would work with people and may just be like one-off. And then I've also got a team that I'm building in the Pharmapreneur Academy with an executive director and some in-house things that we're starting to bring into the program now to help with the onboarding, the processes, and client questions, customer service type stuff.
On your coaches, we left off at like social media and then a business coach. Any other coaches that come to mind, even the one-offs?
The folks I met out in the Nashville conference that I went to back in January, one of the presentations was by Eileen Wilder, and she has a business partner named Joe Giletti. These are like multi-million-dollar business owners. They come from like the speaking industry. So speaking, stage presence, like that kind of stuff. They have helped me so much create our live events in a way that it almost feels like a Tony Robbins style event online. And so we hosted the first Elevate Summit in this new model that they helped me create back in April. And we've launched it a couple times this year. And what we'll be doing with them in October is you're actually going to get to meet those people on the October Elevate Summit. So I don't know if both of them are going to be there, but I know at least one of them is going to be there. And when I say that these people can hold you on the edge of their seat, it's unbelievable to see how much expertise they have in that area, because even I remember the first time I ever watched them just hanging on every word, and I'm thinking, how do they create this charisma? How do they create this excitement, this energy level? And I knew, I was like, I want to work with them. I want to know how they do that. And in working with them, it has really taken my business, my coaching, my communication style to the next level, because they have helped me be able to cultivate that energy and cultivate that enthusiasm and actually pass it on to the members of my team, and then also leading the pharmacists that I work with. So it's like leadership with a side of like evangelical.
If I were to go out like on a basketball court, which I suck at anyways, but if you put me up against someone like Shaq, they're just going to kill me, right? Or if I'm on a 100-yard dash or something like that, the Olympians are just going to kill me. those are very objective, but I think that the problem, and you see this with like America's Got Talent, or what the hell's the other one? Not Star Search, but what's the one with
American Idol? Yeah,
American Idol. American Idol. You get such bad people out there, I think, because singing is subjective, along with some arts and things like that. But the point is, I bet some of those speakers are as good at what they do as Shaq compared to me out there. And people think, oh, they can't be that good. They think it's subjective. But objectively, if you could measure like the silence of the audience, meaning that they're maybe paying attention, in my case, they fell asleep, but paying attention, to the silence. If you could measure that objectively, some of these people are as good at what they do as Shaq against me on the basketball court.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is what Joe and Eileen, have absolutely mastered. They hold your attention for as long as they want to hold your attention. Like it's magnetic. It's something so special. And I remember seeing that and thinking, and I've never thought that like, oh, I just can't do that. I've always thought they know something that I don't. I want to figure out what that is, and I want to learn how to do that in my own way. I mean, I may not be doing it in the exact way as they do it, but I want to be able to take what they can share with me, put it together, create something new that is entirely my own, and be able to speak from a place and be able to motivate those who are listening to what I'm saying into going and taking action, because that's the piece that we don't get from a lot of the pharmacy conferences. It's like how to get inspired, but also how to stay motivated and keep moving forward. That's a big part of it.
With some training, these speakers could probably take practically any subject, whether it's changing the tire on your car or staying in shape or whatever. And they would use some of the same probably principles of maybe some storytelling and then dynamics of this and that. So they'll take what you're feeding out and then coach you into how to be more attractive / convincing to the audience and so on.
They teach you how to, I want to say, not inspire, but they come from like literally an evangelical mega church background. They've worked with like Joel Osteen, but they've also worked with entrepreneurs in various different spaces. So the group that we're in is a mastermind. It's online consultants like myself, but I don't think anyone else is a pharmacist or even in the healthcare industry. So it's cool for me, and this is kind of a recurring theme in my journey, to take what I'm learning from these masters of their crafts and bring it back into pharmacy. Like in 2017, we launched the first ever virtual summit, the first ever virtual pharmacy conference. And in 2017, the pharmacy organizations were going, why would we need to have an online conference? Like, why would you need to do anything online? Everybody knows networking is best done in person. And then 2020 happens, and it's like, oh, well, okay, maybe there is value in being able to connect virtually.
That evangelical stuff that they're doing, basically, the topics there are bringing someone from death to life spiritually and so on. And so if you can add that to a lot of stuff, how you're bringing maybe the morale of pharmacists from death to life, giving them new life for their degree and so on, and saying you don't have to go out maybe and get a new MBA or more letters behind your name, and you can kind of show that resurrection of their career they thought was dead.
It's hope. I mean,
hope, right?
It's hope. That's what you're giving people, and that's what I think a lot of times we're missing in pharmacy
Yeah.
is the cynical pharmacist is kind of more the norm, and someone being very
Yeah.
optimistic about
For sure.
the future of the profession is unfortunately not. But that's
Right.
where I'm coming from is let's not give up on this profession that can do and be so much more than what it what it is today or what it has been in the past.
One favor that I want you to do for me,
Okay.
when you learn even more how to inspire from either a actual stage or the stage online, call up the wholesalers and tell them that their C-suite people need to learn from you because some of
Hmm.
them are awful. I can't believe how terrible some of the people are that get up on stage. And I'm not saying I would do any better with the lights coming down on me and all that kind of stuff, but it's like some of them have like zero training. It's painful to sit through some of those things.
Yes, I agree.
It's too bad almost when they hire these people, they can't say, all right, now get up and do a song and dance and inspire us or something like that. It's terrible. I think that's got to be part of the hiring process.
I think it's leadership, and it's like, how are we putting people in positions as leaders that aren't able to inspire and motivate and lead people? So we need more leaders in pharmacy, and being able to go out and articulate your ideas and formulate goes back to the unified message of
Hmm.
pharmacy practice and having a vision of where we see it going in the next 10 or 20 years. It's right now kind of super disjointed. But I'm hopeful that we have pharmacists who really care about the future of the profession. I do offer individual executive coaching, so if they want to hit me up, they can absolutely do so.
I'm not up there doing it myself, but it's painful sometimes. So, Blair, you're bringing hope to the profession. How have you packaged that? You brought up the virtual summit. What is that?
Yeah, so the Elevate Pharmacy Virtual Summit is basically a 2-day live event. It's workshop, it's Q&A, it's working directly with pharmacists to cultivate their ideas, to figure out what it is they want to create. So we start with brainstorming and creating your six-figure offer. So I'm going to talk more about how to create a six-figure offer and then working your way backwards. So figuring out number of clients and pricing those packages and how to actually get there without just doing one-off type services. So we talk a lot about recurring revenue.
What do you mean by that six-figure offer?
So we start, you want to say your goal is to replace your income,
Gotcha.
100 grand a year. So will say we start there. Moving backwards, okay, what does that look like per month? So 10, well, make it easy. We'll just say 10 grand a month is your goal to replace. If your packages are, starting at 2,500, you're only going to need 4 clients a month to make your goal, 4 new clients a month. So it's basically working backwards to figure out then how do you structure the package so that it delivers $2,500 of value. And the next step, we call these the 4 pillars of pharmapreneurial success. So the first step is figure out what that six-figure offer is and how to package it. The second is create an irresistible offer machine. So that is essentially the funnel that attracts people into your business so that you're, not having to go knock on doors. Essentially, you're leveraging the power of social media, word of mouth marketing, synergistic affiliate type businesses to get the word out about your program so that you have a steady stream of new clients coming in that keep you at that 10K a month or whatever your goal is. And then the third pillar is your delivery method. So we call it a 5-star delivery method because it's something that you put in place, whether it's through software or through team members or through systems and checklists that make sure that your clients get delivered exactly what they were promised and then some. So it's actually over delivering so that people are still going to say, this was a 5-star experience. I got exactly, what was promised. And I think this is the part where sometimes we maybe fall down on that follow through of what exactly does that look like. So making sure that you have some kind of process, some kind of standardized system that whether you have employees or it's just you can follow to make sure that you get someone to the result that they're after. And then the fourth pillar would be the scaling strategy. So how to create a hyper sales method, which would essentially be multiple funnels into multiple offers. So this is kind of once you get your first 3 pillars in place, that would be the final step in figuring out how to start creating multiple offers and multiple spokes on your wheel so that you can continue to grow that. So that's what we're going to talk about on the Elevate Summit coming up October 21st and 22nd.
So this is coming up October 21st and 22nd. What days of the week are those?
That's a Thursday and a Friday.
Is this recorded or is this an actual event?
No, it's a live event. So
it's live.
Yeah, they're gonna hear from us in real time. We're gonna bring people on camera. We're gonna do hot seats. We're gonna have someone in the chat facilitating conversation, connecting ideas. We're gonna introduce you to some of our other members, some pharmacists who have actually taken this program and built their own thing. So it's a full day, Thursday and Friday from 9 a.m. Central Time to 4 p.m. Central Time. And it's going to be workshop style. It's really something that we're going to talk about the 4 pillars, but we're also going to be doing a lot of audience engagement and on the spot coaching.
Does the audience get involved through chat? They're not being videotaped, are they?
We do recommend that people show up ready to show their faces on video.
That's really cool.
I know, and some people don't want to do that because it can be kind of scary, but because we're all pharmacists, because I can kind of keep with the pre-registration, I can kind of keep it, making sure that we protect the privacy of the people that are on there. We want it to be a workshop style. So that's why we require the pre-registration so that people can feel comfortable, come on. It's going to be hosted on Zoom. So it's in my private Zoom room. It's not being recorded, but we are having real-time conversations that we're, some people, if you want to, it's optional, can come on video and audio and ask questions of myself and the other members who are leading, who are on the Pharmapreneur Academy leadership team.
And Blair, you and I have reached out ahead of this. I didn't know a lot about it, so now I'm glad I do. But at my website, bizoffpharmpod.com, if you go to that, there's a link, and that will get them what? Tickets or entry into this?
Yeah, that's going to be their virtual ticket. So we've actually not offered this free at all in 2021. In the past, these have been because we want to keep the event small and keep it very intimate. We've always charged $197 for a ticket to this event because it is such a high level event. But since this is our last one of the year, we decided to open it up, to open up the floodgates and let as many student pharmacists and pharmacists who are interested in building out their clinical services programs into the summit as possible. So yes, they will need to use your link to register and then set aside those 2 days to come and be ready to work and focus and invest in themselves and invest in the businesses they want to create.
I didn't know that was all live, which is really cool because you get the advantage of live, but you're not traveling, you're not parking, you're not sitting through some whatever the hell bores me at some days like that. You're there and you're focused and you're doing it. That's cool.
Yeah, from the comfort of your own home or pharmacy or, your office, you can log in, be present. I've been comparing it to a business incubator.
Yeah.
Like we don't say we're Shark Tank because that sounds like kind of scary and like dangerous. So we're like an incubator that's helping you to take this seedling of an idea and grow it into something else. So being able to come and brainstorm with like-minded pharmacists and connect so you don't feel like every single pharmacist you meet is negative about the future of the profession. If you're looking for optimism about the future of pharmacy, this is the event you're going to find it at.
They get enough of pissing and moaning from me, and so after they get to listen to this, they can go to that link and get some good stuff. Well, Blair, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to the Business of Pharmacy podcast with me, your host, Mike Kelzer. Please subscribe for all future episodes.